Hello, guys. This is Clint Locklear from Wolfer Nation, and I'm answering a question that I got on email just for some things to think about in case a lot of y'all are thinking the same thing. I'm not going to say the dude's name, but because I'm not sure what state he's from, I'm not sure exactly what rules he's got. But there's a couple of things here to think about. Everybody's looking for an advantage. Everybody's trying to find a way to stay within the law to be able to do what you want to do. Now, this is what the email says. Hi, Clint. I've been looking at your 160 body grips in some. I've been looking at, not mine, but I've been looking at using 160 body grips in some unconventional ways to maximize the use of the trap, which is great. One way I've been considering using them is a foothold for beaver and otter, which they will work. I have never did this, but if it is possible to do so, it would give me a 72-hour check in my state compared to the daily check with regular footholds. Do you have any experience doing this or know someone who has done it consistently? Thanks. Yeah, I have. I've used all the way up to 330s and stuff like that. You lay them flat. Years ago, I used to sell these things called cheater pans that gave you some pan tension you could just click on. You can play around with a rubber band. Trust me, you want some pan tension when you start putting these things flat. So you can take a rubber band and run it around the frame and underneath the jaws. Not enough where it flips the trap. What you're wanting is the rubber bands to sit on the underneath the triggers, so it gives a little more tension, so it's not so just easy to fire. Just because if you get a big wave or something, it can fire a trap when it's set like that. You definitely can. It needs to be one that closes completely. It needs to be set like you would any other trap. But that's not really what I want to talk to you about, brother. I've never done this, but is it possible to do? It would give me a 72-hour check in my state compared to a daily check with regular footholds. See, here's where I don't want you to get in trouble. Now, you may go through the laws and find out that I'm absolutely wrong. You may go through the rules and find that you're absolutely right. But I want you to consider something. When you set a trap to function as a foothold trap, which is laying it flat, that is considered by law, I'm 99% sure, a foothold trap. So, if you used your 110 setting flat, if you used a 110 on dry land and it was setting flat, what you got to keep in mind is when you're looking at laws, it's what is the intention or the purpose of the law. And even though you're technically not using a foothold trap, you are using a trap in a foothold manner. And the reason I'm bringing this up to you is I don't want you to get in trouble. So if a game warden starts looking at you and he goes behind you and he finds your stuff, and then all of a sudden he's noticing that you're placing body grips flat with the full intention, and no other way to get around this, but the full intention is for the animal to step in the trap, all of a sudden now you're going to be using a foothold trap in the eyes of the law, I believe. So think about that before you do it. The reason that those laws are there, the intention or the purpose of that law is there, is when an animal goes through, head first, through a body grip trap, it's going to dispatch that animal. So whether you check it in 1 day or 3 days is irrelevant because it's dead. But when you set it in a purpose which is not the normal way of setting that trap with the intention of using it as a foothold trap, I have a feeling a game warden is going to write you up for not checking your foothold traps within 24 hours if that's your law, or 36, whatever. I don't know where state you're from. But just keep that in mind. I understand you definitely want to find advantages. I'm all for that. Trust me, I'm all for that. But I don't want you to get in trouble because you think you found a technicality when you may not have. So I would really do some digging in your state to see what the laws actually say in your state. But if a foothold trap, like by definition in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere along the lines of with the intent of the animal putting his foot in the trap. when you go look at, like what is a foothold trap, which I should have probably pulled that up. But I remember seeing that before, and what a body grip is, because they're not really worried about name brand. So just keep that in mind. Don't get in trouble. If it's legal, go with it. If not, check it every 24 hours, dude. You don't want to get in trouble.